Boldly going where no one has gone before, Star Trek Voyager 1995 took fans on an unforgettable journey across the Delta Quadrant. Nearly 3 decades later, what happened to the cast who brought Captain Janeway and her crew to life? How have they changed, and where are they now? Join us in Star Trek Voyager 1995, Cast Then and Now, as we revisit their legacy, on-screen transformations, and the paths they followed after the series ended. Robert Beltran, born Robert Adame Beltran, on November 19, 1953 in Bakersfield, California, gained international recognition for his portrayal of Commander Chakotay in the science fiction epic Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the series when he was 41 years old. In the show's pilot episode, Chakotay is introduced as a former Starfleet officer turned Maquis rebel leader who, after being stranded in the Delta Quadrant, agrees to serve as the first officer under Captain Janeway to ensure the survival of his people. His character arc is deeply rooted in his indigenous heritage and spiritual guidance, often utilizing a medicine bundle and a vision quest device to seek wisdom during times of crisis. An iconic scene for Beltran involves Chakotay's steadfast loyalty to Janeway, particularly during the Scorpion two-parter, where he questions the ethics of a temporary alliance with the Borg, showcasing the character's moral compass and tension with command. In real life, Robert Beltran was born into a large Mexican-American family and discovered his passion for acting while attending Fresno State University, where he excelled in theatrical productions. He initially rose to prominence with a breakout performance in the cult classic dark comedy Eating Raoul, 1982, where he played the titular character and later showcased his physical prowess as Deputy KO in the action film Lone Wolf McQuade, 1983, opposite Chuck Norris. Throughout his career, he has remained a dedicated advocate for Shakespearean theater, often returning to the stage to perform in classics like Hamlet and A Midsummer Night's Dream. Robert Beltran is currently 72 years old and remains active in the performing arts community, frequently appearing at fan conventions and contributing to various independent film projects while living in California. Kate Mulgrew, born Catherine Kiernan, Maria Mulgrew on April 29, 1955 in Dubuque, Iowa, achieved legendary status in the science fiction genre by portraying the indomitable Captain Catherine Janeway in the landmark television series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the show's premiere when she was 40 years old. As the first female captain to lead a Star Trek series, her character was thrust into the unexplored Delta Quadrant 70,000 light-years from Earth after her ship was pulled across the galaxy by a mysterious entity known as the Caretaker. Janeway is depicted as a scientist explorer who must balance the rigid protocols of Starfleet with the desperate survival needs of her crew, eventually integrating Maquis rebels into her command structure. One of her most iconic scenes involves her resolute decision to destroy the Caretaker's array to protect the Ocampa people, even though it meant sacrificing her only known way home. Her performance was lauded for its authoritative yet maternal presence, often seen in her trademark scenes, drinking black coffee while outmaneuvering the Borg Queen or navigating the complexities of the Prime Directive. In real life, Mulgrew was the daughter of Thomas James Mulgrew II, the contractor, and Joan Virginia Mulgrew, an artist, and she began her rigorous training at New York University's Stella Adler Conservatory. Before her trek through the stars, she became a household name as Mary Ryan on the soap opera Ryan's Hope 1975, and later earned critical acclaim as the formidable Galina Red Reznikov in the Netflix hit Orange is the New Black 2013, a role that won her a Critics' Choice Television Award. Kate Mulgrew is currently 70 years old and continues to be a prolific force in the arts, lending her distinctive voice to the animated series Star Trek Prodigy and residing in her beloved home in New York City. Roxann Dawson, born Roxann Caballero on September 11, 1958 in Los Angeles, California, delivered a powerful and nuanced performance as Lieutenant Bielana Torres in the long-running series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the role when she was 36 years old. Torres is portrayed as a brilliant but volatile half-Klingon, half-human engineer who initially struggles with her dual identity and a deep-seated anger toward her Klingon heritage. Throughout the 7-season journey, her character undergoes a profound transformation from a cynical Maquis rebel to a respected chief engineer, and eventually a devoted mother and wife to Tom Paris. One of her most memorable and iconic scenes occurs in the episode Faces, where she is physically split into 2 separate entities, one fully Klingon and one fully human, forcing her to confront the internal conflict she had spent her life trying to suppress. In real life, Roxann was born to Richard and Rosalie Caballero and attended the University of California, Berkeley, where she honed her craft before landing her first major Broadway role in a production of A Chorus Line. Beyond her time in the engine room of the USS Voyager, she appeared in projects such as the series 7 Days and the film Darkman III, Die, Darkman, Die. However, she found even greater success behind the camera, transitioning into a highly sought-after director for prestigious television dramas, including The Americans' House of Cards and the epic sci-fi series Foundation, as well as directing the feature film Breakthrough 2019. Roxann Dawson is currently 67 years old and resides in Los Angeles, where she continues to shape the landscape of modern television as a director and producer, having successfully bridged the gap between being a star in front of the lens to a visionary leader behind it. Ethan Phillips, born on February 8, 1955 in Garden City, New York, delivered a memorable and heartwarming performance as the Talaxian guide Neelix in Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the role when he was 40 years old. Neelix is introduced as a resourceful scavenger who joins the Voyager crew as their local guide cook and self-appointed morale officer, after being rescued from the Delta Quadrant's harsh environments. His character arc is marked by his deep devotion to Kes, his internal struggle with his pacifist nature after the destruction of his home planet Rhinax, and his eventual growth into a respected ambassador for the crew. An iconic scene for Phillips occurs in the episode Mortal Coil, where Neelix faces a crisis of faith after a near-death experience, a dramatic departure from his usually jovial persona that highlighted Phillips' immense acting depth beneath heavy prosthetic makeup. In real life, Ethan Phillips was the only son in a family of 6 children, and was raised by his father, who was the owner of the famous Phillips's Seafood Grill in Manhattan. He earned a Master of Fine Arts from Cornell University, and began his career on stage before landing the role of the neurotic press secretary Pete Downey in the sitcom Benson, 1980. His diverse filmography includes roles in the action thriller The Island, 2005, as Dr. Jeri, and a memorable appearance in the dark comedy Bad Santa. Throughout his career, he has remained a staple of the New York and Los Angeles theater scenes, performing in numerous Broadway and off-Broadway productions. Ethan Phillips is currently 70 years old and continues his artistic activities in film, television, and theater, maintaining a reputation as one of the most versatile character actors in the business. Robert Duncan McNeill, born on November 9, 1964, in Raleigh, North Carolina, rose to international fame for his portrayal of Lieutenant Tom Paris in the acclaimed science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1995. Starring in the pilot episode when he was 30 years old, his character, Tom Paris, is introduced as a disgraced former Starfleet officer and pilot who is recruited from a penal colony by Captain Janeway to assist the USS Voyager in tracking a Maquis vessel. Throughout the series, Paris evolves from a cynical loner into a dedicated hero, serving as the ship's ace pilot and a field medic, while indulging in his passion for 20th century Earth holonovel simulations like Captain Proton. An iconic scene for McNeill involves the episode Threshold, where Paris breaks the transwarp barrier and undergoes a bizarre evolutionary transformation, showcasing both his physical acting range and the character's daring nature. In real life, Robert Duncan McNeill is the son of an attorney and grew up in a family that valued education, eventually attending the prestigious Juilliard School to refine his dramatic skills. Before his journey to the Delta Quadrant, he gained early recognition as Charlie Brent on the daytime soap opera All My Children, and guest starred as the similar character Nick Locarno in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode The First Duty. Following his time on Voyager, he successfully transitioned into a highly respected television director and producer, helming numerous episodes of hit shows like Chuck, where he also served as an executive producer, and more recently, Resident Alien. Robert Duncan McNeill is currently 61 years old and resides in Los Angeles, California, where he continues to be a prolific force behind the camera in the television industry. Robert Picardo, born on October 27th of 1953 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, became a fan favorite for his brilliant portrayal of the emergency medical hologram known simply as the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the series when he was 41 years old. Originally designed as a short-term supplemental medical program, the Doctor is forced into full-time service after the ship's biological medical staff is killed, eventually developing a distinct personality, hobbies such as opera singing and a fight for his own civil rights as a sentient being. An iconic scene for Picardo involves his character's first use of the mobile emitter in the episode Future's End, which finally allowed the hologram to leave the confines of sickbay and explore the world, a pivotal moment in his quest for humanity. In real life, Robert Picardo is of Italian heritage and originally intended to study medicine at Yale University, before pivoting to drama, a background that ironically served him well for his most famous role. He first gained widespread acclaim and an Emmy nomination for his hilarious and terrifying role as Coach Cutlip in The Wonder Years, 1988, and became a regular collaborator with director Joe Dante, appearing in cult classics like The Howling and Gremlins 2, The New Batch. He further cemented his sci-fi legacy by playing the bureaucratic Richard Woolsey across the Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate Universe franchises. Robert Picardo is currently 72 years old and remains highly active in the entertainment industry, often participating in projects that bridge the gap between science and art. and he currently resides in Los Angeles, California, where he is also a member of the board of directors for the Planetary Society. Garrett Wang born. Garrett. Richard Wang, on December 15, 1968, in Riverside, California, became a beloved fixture of the Star Trek universe through his portrayal of Ensign Harry Kim in Star Trek Voyager 1995. Starring in the series when he was 26 years old, Harry Kim is depicted as the young idealistic operations officer fresh out of Starfleet Academy who must quickly mature when the ship is lost in space. Throughout the series, Kim is known for his technical brilliance, his enduring friendship with Tom Paris, and his perpetual status as an ensign despite his heroic deeds. One of his most iconic scenes occurs in the episode Timeless, where an older future version of Harry Kim risks everything to change history and save the Voyager from a devastating crash, a performance that allowed Wang to showcase a more grizzled and determined side of his character. In real life, Wang was born to Chinese immigrant parents and moved frequently during his childhood, living in Indiana and Bermuda, before settling back in California to attend UCLA. He was named one of People magazine's 50 most beautiful people in the world in 1997, a testament to his rising stardom during the show's run. Outside of the Trek franchise, he appeared as Chow Ping in the horror film Demon Island 2002, and as Dr. Geng in the film Ivory 2010. Today, he is a prominent figure in the convention circuit, co-hosting the Delta Flyers podcast with fellow cast member Robert Duncan McNeill, where they provide behind-the-scenes insights into every episode of their show. Garrett Wang is currently 57 years old and remains a vibrant and active member of the broader entertainment industry and the global Star Trek community, frequently engaging with fans and advocating for Asian American representation in media. Tim Russ, born Timothy Darrell. Russ, on June 22, 1956, in Washington, D.C., delivered a masterfully disciplined performance as the Vulcan tactical officer, Lieutenant Tuvok, in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the show when he was 38 years old. As a logic-driven Vulcan and one of Captain Janeway's most trusted advisors, Tuvok served as the ship's chief of security, often providing a stoic and rational counterpoint to the emotional challenges faced by the crew in the Delta Quadrant. His character arc explored the complexities of Vulcan mental discipline, his deep devotion to his family back on Vulcan, and his unexpected friendship with the jovial Neelix. An iconic scene for Russ occurs in the episode Meld, where Tuvok undergoes a dangerous mind meld with a violent criminal to understand the nature of irrational violence, showcasing his incredible range as his character's logic begins to unravel into raw primal emotion. In real life, Tim Russ was born into a military family, the son of a U.S. Air Force officer, and he spent much of his youth living on various bases before earning his degree in theater arts from St. Edward's University. Before boarding Voyager, he appeared as D.C. Montana in the action series The Highwayman 1987, and had previously auditioned for the role of Geordi LaForge. He later found success as Frank in the comedy Samantha Who 2007, and has directed multiple projects within the Star Trek universe. Beyond acting, he is an accomplished musician and an amateur astronomer who has contributed to asteroid research. Tim Russ is currently 69 years old and continues to be a versatile force in the industry as an actor, director, and musician, frequently contributing his talents to both independent films and major franchises, while remaining an active figure in the fan community. Majel Barrett, born Majel Leigh Hudek on February 23, 1932 in Cleveland, Ohio, provided the definitive auditory backbone of the franchise as the Voyager computer voice in Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the series through her iconic vocal performance when she was 63 years old. Often referred to as the First Lady of Star Trek, her voice became the calm, logical interface that managed the ship's systems from life support to replicators, guiding Captain Janeway and her crew through the perils of the Delta Quadrant. Her role as the computer was characterized by a precise, rhythmic delivery that embodied the advanced technology of the 24th century, yet possessed an underlying warmth that felt like home to fans. One of the most iconic scenes involving her voice occurs in the series finale, Endgame, where the computer's matter-of-fact reporting of system failures heightens the tension of the ship's final battle against the Borg. In real life, Majel was the daughter of William Hudek, a police officer who died in the line of duty, and she later married the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, in a Shinto ceremony. Her legacy in the franchise is unparalleled, having played Nurse Christine Chapel in the original 1960s series The Number One character in the pilot The Cage, and the flamboyant Betazoid ambassador Lwaxana Troi in Star Trek The Next Generation. She recorded a phonetic library of her voice before her death, ensuring that her legacy as the computer could potentially continue in future technology. Majel Barrett passed away on December 18, 2008, at the age of 76, after a short battle with leukemia at her home in Bel Air, Los Angeles. following her passing, her remains were prepared for a secondary memorial spaceflight to be launched into deep space alongside those of her late husband, symbolizing their eternal journey together among the stars they helped imagine. Tarik Ergin, born on June 7, 1961, in Hialeah, Florida, holds a unique and legendary place in television history for his portrayal of Lieutenant Ayala in Star Trek Voyager 1995, starting his long-running tenure in the series when he was 33 years old. Although Ayala began as a background character, he appeared in a staggering 125 episodes more than any other non-credited regular, becoming a symbol of the ship's resilience and the unsung heroes of the Maquis Rebellion who integrated into the Starfleet crew. As a tactical officer, often seen on the bridge or leading security details, Ayala was the quiet, reliable presence who stood by Captain Janeway through the most perilous encounters in the Delta Quadrant. A particularly iconic moment for fans of the show is Ayala's brief but significant dialogue in the episode Fury, which cemented his status as a fully realized member of the crew rather than just a face in the crowd. In real life, Ergin is of Turkish descent and brought a rugged professional athleticism to his roles, which led to his extensive work as a stunt performer and tactical consultant on various sets. Before his time on the Voyager, he appeared in the feature film Star Trek Generations 1994 as a tactical officer, marking the beginning of his deep association with the franchise. Beyond the stars, he has worked on numerous high-profile productions behind the scenes, contributing to the physical choreography and safety of complex action sequences. He is also known for his passion for lacrosse and has coached at the collegiate level, demonstrating his leadership and dedication outside of the film industry. Tarik Ergin is currently 64 years old and continues his career in the entertainment industry, remaining a favorite guest at science fiction conventions, where he is celebrated by the Voyager faithful for his record-breaking service to the ship. Jennifer Lien, born Jennifer Ann Lien on August 24, 1974, in Chicago, Illinois, provided a soulful and ethereal presence as the Ocampan telepath Kes in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the debut season when she was 20 years old. Kes was introduced as a young woman from a race with a tragically short lifespan of only 9 years, who escaped the subterranean city of her people to join the Voyager crew as a medical assistant and botanical expert. Her character arc was defined by her rapidly evolving mental abilities and her profound, gentle wisdom that often served as a moral compass for the crew during their earliest days in the Delta Quadrant. An iconic scene for Lien occurs in the episode The Gift, where Kes's telepathic powers begin to destabilize her molecular structure, leading to a poignant farewell as she evolves into a non-corporeal being of pure energy and uses her newfound power to push Voyager 10 years closer to home. In real life, Lien was the youngest of 3 children and began her professional acting career in industrial films and theater, before landing the role of the rebellious orphan Hannah Moore on the soap opera Another World. Beyond her time in the Trek universe, she delivered a critically acclaimed and haunting performance as Davina Vineyard in the intense drama American History, X 1998, and voiced the sophisticated Agent L in the animated Men in Black, the series 1997. Despite her early success and undeniable talent, she chose to step back from the limelight in the early 2000s to focus on her personal life and education. Jennifer Lien is currently 51 years old and currently resides in the United States, where she has largely transitioned away from the public eye and the entertainment industry to pursue a more private life. Jeri Ryan, born Jeri Lynn Zimmerman on February 22, 1968, in Munich, West Germany, delivered a transformative and iconic performance as 7 of 9 in Star Trek Voyager 1997, joining the main cast during the show's 4th season when she was 29 years old. Her character, a human woman named Annika Hansen, who had been assimilated by the Borg at a young age, was liberated from the collective by the Voyager crew and forced to rediscover her lost humanity. 7 of 9 became the show's emotional and intellectual center, often challenging Captain Janeway's human ethics with cold, efficient Borg logic while struggling with the overwhelming sensations of individuality. An iconic scene for Ryan involves the episode Someone to Watch Over Me, where the Doctor attempts to teach 7 the nuances of human dating and social interaction, showcasing her incredible ability to blend physical rigidity with subtle emerging vulnerability. In real life, Jeri was the daughter of Gerhard Florian Zimmermann, a master sergeant in the United States Army, and Sharon Zimmerman, a social worker, which led her to grow up on various military bases around the world before she graduated from Northwestern University. Before her journey to the stars, she was a finalist in the Miss America 1990 pageant and appeared in various television guest roles. Her career post-Voyager has been exceptionally prolific, starring as Ronnie Cook in the drama Boston Public 2001, and as the brilliant medical examiner Dr. Kate Murphy in the procedural series Body of Proof 2011. She recently returned to her most famous role to critical acclaim in the series Star Trek Picard, where she explored a more mature and battle-hardened version of her character. Jeri Ryan is currently 57 years old and continues her professional acting career while residing in Los Angeles, remaining a powerful advocate for science fiction as a medium for exploring the human condition. Martha Hackett, born on May 8, 1961 in Boston, Massachusetts, portrayed one of the most complex and hated villains in the franchise, the Cardassian spy Seska in Star Trek Voyager, 1995, starring in the pivotal role when she was 33 years old. Originally appearing as a Bajoran Maquis member, Seska was eventually revealed to be a deep-cover Cardassian operative who had surgically altered her appearance to infiltrate the rebellion. Her character became a recurring thorn in the side of the Voyager crew, eventually defecting to the Kazon Nistrim and using her superior tactical knowledge to orchestrate the temporary takeover of the ship. One of her most iconic scenes occurs in the two-part episode Basics, where a triumphant Seska stands on the bridge of Voyager, having stranded the crew on a prehistoric planet, showcasing Hackett's ability to portray calculating intellect and chilling ruthlessness. In real life, Hackett is a graduate of Harvard University and brought a sharp academic intensity to her performances, which allowed her to balance the duplicitous nature of her most famous character. Interestingly, she had previously played the Vulcan subcommander Tyrul in the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode The Search, making her a rare actress to have played 3 distinct alien races within the same universe. Her other film credits include roles in the action film Never Say Die 1994 and the horror film Kiss of the Vampire 2009. Martha Hackett is currently 64 years old and continues to work in the performing arts while residing in Los Angeles, where she is frequently celebrated at fan conventions for her masterfully villainous contribution to the Trek lore. Scarlett Pomers, born Scarlett Noel Pomers on November 28, 1988 in Riverside, California, grew up before the eyes of millions as the resilient and precocious Naomi Wildman in Star Trek Voyager 1998, appearing as a recurring guest star beginning when she was 9 years old. As the first child born on the ship in the Delta Quadrant, Naomi represented the hope and future of the displaced crew often seen assisting 7 of 9 in the astrometrics lab, or serving as the self-appointed captain's assistant to Catherine Janeway. Her character provided a unique perspective on life aboard a starship emphasizing the importance of family and community in the face of isolation. An iconic scene for Pomers involves the episode Bliss, where Naomi's keen observation and refusal to give in to a telepathic pitcher plant's illusions allow her to help 7 of 9 save the entire ship from being consumed. In real life, Pomers was discovered by an agent at a local shopping mall at the age of 3 and quickly became a prolific child actress, appearing in Michael Jackson's Heal the World music video and the film The Babysitter's Club 1995 as Susie Barrett. Following her tenure on Voyager, she achieved mainstream fame as the sarcastic and witty Kira Hart on the long-running sitcom Reba 2001, starring alongside country music legend Reba McEntire. Beyond acting, she's an accomplished singer-songwriter who released an EP titled Insane and has since transitioned into a career as a professional photographer. Scarlett Pomers is currently 37 years old and continues her artistic activities as a photographer and musician, maintaining a creative lifestyle while occasionally reflecting on her unique childhood among the stars. Josh Clark, born on August 16, 1955 in Bethesda, Maryland, brought a grounded and relatable presence to the role of Lieutenant Joe Carey in the science fiction television series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the show's first season when he was 39 years old. Carey was introduced as a Starfleet engineer who initially clashed with Beltran Torres over the position of chief engineer after the ship was stranded in the Delta Quadrant, but he eventually became a loyal and vital member of the engineering team. His character arc is remembered for its tragic conclusion in the final season, where he was killed by a phaser blast while on an away mission to retrieve an ancient friendship probe, just as the crew was nearing their return to Earth. An iconic scene for Clark occurs in the episode Caretaker, where his character must set aside his ego and professional rivalry to work with the Maquis rebels for the survival of the ship, establishing the early themes of integration and cooperation. In real life, Josh Clark grew up in a family that valued the arts, and he received his formal training at the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City. His extensive television career includes notable roles, such as the stern Sheriff Dearborn in the supernatural drama True Blood 2008, and the character of Greg in the long-running sitcom Coach. He has also appeared in a variety of procedural dramas and films, including the legal thriller The Client and the drama McFarland USA. Josh Clark is currently 70 years old and continues his professional acting career in television and film, often being recognized by fans for his enduring contribution to the Voyager legacy, as a symbol of the crew's hard-working and dedicated middle management. Vaughn Armstrong, born on July 7, 1950 in Sonora, California, holds a prestigious place in the franchise for portraying multiple characters, including the Klingon scientist Korath in Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the series when he was 44 years old. Korath appeared in the series finale Endgame, where he provided the time travel technology to an older Admiral Janeway, facilitating the crew's final return to Earth. Armstrong's performance was marked by the intense, honorable, yet pragmatic nature characteristic of the Klingon species, making him a fan-favorite guest star. In real life, Vaughn Armstrong discovered his love for acting while attending North Texas State University, and eventually became the record holder for playing the highest number of distinct characters in the Star Trek universe, totaling 12 different roles across various series. He is perhaps best known for his series regular role as Admiral Maxwell Forrest in Star Trek Enterprise 2001, a character who served as a vital link between humanity and the Vulcans. His film career includes a notable appearance as a ST-6 team leader in the Tom Clancy thriller Clear and Present Danger, 1994, starring Harrison Ford. Beyond acting, Armstrong is a talented musician who often performs with the Enterprise Blues Band, a group composed of fellow Star Trek actors who perform at fan conventions worldwide. Vaughn Armstrong is currently 75 years old and continues his artistic activities, remaining a beloved and frequent guest at fan conventions, where he shares stories about his unprecedented journey through the galaxy in almost every prosthetic makeup imaginable. Raphael Sbarge, born on February 12, 1964 in New York City, delivered a tense and memorable performance as the traitorous crewman Michael Jonas in Star Trek Voyager 1996, starring in the recurring role during the second season when he was 31 years old. Jonas was a former Maquis rebel who became disillusioned with Captain Janeway's leadership and secretly collaborated with the villainous Seska and the Kazon Nistrum, attempting to sabotage Voyager from within. His character's narrative reached a dramatic peak in the episode Investigations, where his betrayal was finally uncovered by Neelix, leading to a physical struggle in engineering where Jonas met his end. In real life, Sbarge was born into a theatrical family. His mother was a costume designer and his father was an artist and filmmaker. He began his career on Broadway at the age of 16 in a production of The Curse of an Aching Heart, and quickly transitioned into film and television. He is widely recognized for his portrayal of Archie Hopper and his alter ego Jiminy Cricket in the fantasy series Once Upon a Time 2011, and for providing the voice and likeness of Kai Danilenko in the critically acclaimed Mass Effect video game trilogy. Sbarge is also a dedicated environmentalist, having founded the nonprofit organization Greenwish to support local green initiatives. Raphael Sbarge is currently 61 years old and resides in Los Angeles, California, where he continues his prolific activities as an actor, voice artist, and environmental advocate, having amassed over 100 credits across nearly every genre of the entertainment industry. Rob LaBelle, born on August 2, 1962 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, showcased his talent for character acting by portraying a Talaxian prisoner in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the role when he was 32 years old. This initial appearance in the episode Faces was just the beginning of his journey with the franchise, as he later returned to play several other distinct characters, including the eccentric Tak Tak in the episode Macrocosm, and the character Oxylon in Mortal Coil. LaBelle was particularly noted for his ability to perform under heavy prosthetic makeup, bringing a unique physicality and vocal energy to the various alien species he inhabited in the Delta Quadrant. In real life, Rob LaBelle attended the University of Puget Sound before earning his Master of Fine Arts from New York University's graduate acting program. He gained significant recognition for his starring role as the paranoid and brilliant Eddie Nambulus in the science fiction series First Wave 1998, a show produced by Francis Ford Coppola. His film career includes a memorable role as the scientist in the superhero epic Watchmen 2009 and appearances in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. In addition to his work in front of the camera, he has become a highly successful producer and director in the Canadian television industry, working on projects such as Motive and The Game. Rob LaBelle is currently 63 years old and resides in British Columbia, Canada, where he continues to be a driving force in the North American entertainment industry as both a prolific actor and a respected television producer. Richard Hurd, born on September 26, 1932 in Boston, Massachusetts, provided a powerful and authoritative presence as Admiral Owen Paris in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1999, starring in the recurring role of Tom Paris's estranged father when he was 66 years old. Admiral Paris was a high-ranking Starfleet officer stationed at Starfleet Command who spent years mourning the loss of his son's ship until the Pathfinder project finally established communication with the Delta Quadrant. Hurd masterfully portrayed the Admiral's evolution from a stern, distant military leader to a father filled with regret and hope, culminating in the emotional scene where he finally speaks to Tom across the vastness of space. In real life, Richard Hurd was the son of a train engineer and began his career on the New York stage, before transitioning to film with a debut in Hercules in New York, 1970. He became a pop culture icon for his role as the eccentric Mr. Wilhelm Georg Costanza's supervisor on the legendary sitcom Seinfeld, and earned science fiction fame as the villainous Supreme Commander John in the original Vice 1983 miniseries. His filmography was extensive, including roles in the political thriller All the President's Men and the horror hit Get Out 2017. Beyond acting. Hurd was an accomplished painter and a founding member of the Screen Actors Guild's National Players Guide. Richard Hurd passed away on May 26, 2020, at the age of 87, due to complications from cancer at his home in Los Angeles. Following his passing, he was cremated, and his remains were entrusted to his family, leaving behind a legacy of versatile performances spanning over 5 decades of television and cinema history. Lindsay Hahn, born on November 21, 1984, in Los Angeles, California, delivered a charming and memorable performance as Beatrice Burley in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager 1995, starring in the recurring role within the Janeway Lambda 1 holonovel when she was 10 years old. Beatrice was the young daughter of Lord Burley, the central figure in Captain Janeway's favorite Victorian-era Gothic romance simulation, where Janeway played the role of a governess. Her character was depicted as a grieving and somewhat rebellious child who, along with her brother, struggled to cope with the loss of their mother while living in a mysterious and atmospheric English manor. One of her most iconic scenes involves her interactions with Janeway in the episode Persistence of Vision, where the simulation becomes a sanctuary and later a source of haunting psychological projections for the captain. In real life, Lindsay Hahn is the daughter of Jimmy Hahn, a well-known session guitarist who played for the band Yes, and the granddaughter of Rougon, a famous operatic singer. Growing up in a musical and artistic environment, she began acting at a very young age, landing roles in national commercials, and the horror film Village of the Damned 1995 opposite Christopher Reeve. She achieved significant fame for her portrayal of Dixie Lee in the country music-themed film Broken Bridges 2006, and later for her recurring role as the telepathic Hadley Hale in the hit HBO series True Blood 2009. Beyond acting, she is an accomplished director and a talented singer-songwriter who has released several singles and directed numerous music videos and short films under her own production banner, Han Solo Publications. Lindsay Hahn is currently 41 years old and resides in Los Angeles, California, where she continues her versatile work as an actress, director, and musician, maintaining a creative presence in both the television industry and the independent film scene. Larry Hankin, born on August 31, 1940 in New York City, brought his signature lean frame and deadpan comedic timing to the role of Gaunt Gary in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager, 1995, appearing as the enigmatic holodeck character when he was 54 years old. Gaunt Gary was a fixture of the Chez Sandrine pool hall program, often seen lingering in the background with a pool cue embodying the gritty atmosphere of the French maritime bar. Hankin's presence added a layer of surreal authenticity to the crew's recreational hours, creating a character that fans remembered despite his limited dialogue. In real life, Hankin studied acting and design at Syracuse University before heading to San Francisco to join the influential improv group The Committee. He is widely recognized for his portrayal of the eccentric neighbor, Mr. Heckles in the sitcom Friends, and for his role as Old Joe the savvy junkyard owner who helps dispose of evidence in the critically acclaimed series Breaking Bad. His film career is highlighted by his role as Charlie Butts in the Clint Eastwood classic Escape from Alcatraz 1979 and a memorable turn in Home Alone as Officer Balzac. An Academy Award nominee for his short film Solly's Diner, Hankin has remained a steadfast figure in the world of independent film and underground comedy for over 60 years. Larry Hankin is currently 85 years old and resides in Los Angeles, California, where he continues to be active in creative projects, often producing his own short films and contributing his unique brand of character work to a new generation of independent filmmakers. Laura Interval, born on June 22, 1968 in the United States, provided a haunting and pivotal performance as Erin Hansen in the science fiction series Star Trek Voyager, 1999, starring in the role of Seven of Nine's ill-fated mother when she was 30 years old. Erin Hansen was a brilliant exobiologist who, alongside her husband Magnus, embarked on an unauthorized mission aboard the USS Raven to study the Borg Collective, eventually leading to their capture and assimilation. Her character is primarily seen through recovered logs and haunting flashbacks in the 2-part episode Dark Frontier, illustrating the obsession that led to the transformation of her daughter Annika into the Borg drone 7 of 9. An iconic scene for Interval involves the tense footage of her character working feverishly in the Raven's lab, as the Borg ship looms, capturing the tragic mix of scientific curiosity and parental peril that defined the Hansen family's legacy. In real life, Laura Interval began her professional career in the early 1990s, developing a reputation for her ability to portray intelligent and authoritative professional women. She is well known for her guest starring role as Laurie West in the legal drama The Practice, and has appeared in various high-profile series such as The West Wing Jag and The Drew Carey Show. Within the Star Trek franchise, she demonstrated her versatility by also appearing as the character Luma in the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode Statistical Probabilities, where she played one of the genetically enhanced individuals. Beyond her work on screen, she has been involved in voiceover projects and theatrical productions across Southern California. Laura Inderville is currently 57 years old and continues her professional activities within the entertainment industry, often appearing in guest roles and participating in creative projects, while maintaining a private personal life in California, remembered by sci-fi fans for bringing a human face to the origin story of one of the franchise's most popular characters. Who's your favorite character from Star Trek Voyager? It's always tough to say goodbye to beloved cast members who are no longer with us. How does that make you feel? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you're enjoying our content, be sure to subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. We appreciate having you in our community.